Hey guys, welcome back to Living in My Now. Thank you for pressing play. I am excited about today's subject because it is such a victory. 9 years, and in March it will be 10 years since I made the decision to become celibate. And it has been a journey, and trust me, if you had told me 9 years ago that God would have taken me on this journey, I would look at you and said like, babe, that's not happening. But it is amazing how God has taken me on this journey, and I never would have thought this would have happened. So I just quickly want to share 7 tips for how I have maintained celibacy for 9 whole years. Oh my goodness. So I am just going to jump right in because I recorded this video before and it wound up being 17 minutes. And I said, oh, that's way too long. So the verse I'm actually going to use is 1 Corinthians 10:13, which says, "There hath no temptation taken you, such as is common to man, but God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it." So with everything, God is gonna definitely make a way of escape for you. This is common. This has happened since the beginning of time. People have been tempted and God has made a way of escape. So a little bit about my testimony. I'm not going to go too much into it. When I was back in Chicago, of course, there were just a lot of issues I was going to. And I remember in December, I think it was December 10th of 2009, I was just like, Lord, I just need a change. This is ridiculous. My life at that point was just a flaming hot mess, to put it that way. And I had prayed about a change. God moved me to Minnesota in late January of 2010. And then my journey began in basically March of 2010. So it has been amazing, and I'm just going to jump right into it with my very first point. The very first thing that I did was I greatly reduced or completely cut off, which in most cases was completely cut off, those who tempted me to sexually sin. Now, I'm going to say from experience, it is very difficult to be friends with someone that you have been intimate with, so that's why it just got cut off completely, that communication. And yeah, you'll find out if you try to still be friends with people who you've been intimate with. It's just not going to work out. The verse for that is 1 Corinthians 15:13, "Be not deceived, evil communication corrupts good manners." And that is actually speaking to like even friends who try to pull you back into your past. I do have a few friends who respected that. It's like, hey, I'm not that person anymore. I don't want to talk about that. It doesn't even have to be someone that you've been with that they bring up. It could just be things in your past that'll trigger that in you. And it's like, many of my friends have respected that, but other friends have not. So I have just had to completely cut off friendships because of that. Another really good verse is 1 Corinthians 10:13, where Paul talks about, he's saved basically. Well, he is saved, but he's saying, yeah, I can do different things, but is it really the best thing for me? Yes, you can hang around those friends that still talk about those things and, in a sense, encourage you to do those things. So I've had friends that I've had to cut off because they're like, well, what's the big deal? It's not that big of a deal if you have sex or do different things. And it's like, that's important to me. And as my friend, you should respect that. And if you don't, then, they have to cut ties. So it wasn't the best thing for me. So that was the very first thing that I had to do. The second thing that I had to do was allow God to change me from the inside out. And I always mention this program, but Reformers Unanimous was one of the main tools that God used to show me how precious I was to him. And that completely changed my entire outlook as far as everything about me. God made me realize the reason why I was having sex, and it was to fulfill a void in my life. And when I was younger, a lot of things happened, and that just took a big blow to my self-esteem. And if you're a self-reflective person like I am, you would really want to know, like, what's the whole reason that I'm even having sex? And God created sex to be used, of course, within marriage. And it was created and used to, bond a husband and a wife. And if you're honest with yourself, when you're intimate with somebody, or you don't even have to have sex, when you have a close, intimate relationship with someone, like even a close friendship, if you think about it like that, and you break off that close, intimate friendship with someone, it's really hard. And even a relationship. So if you're going to that ultimate sacrifice and giving yourself to that person and you break that off, it's devastating. It's even more devastating when you've been intimate with them. So God had to show me that I was trying to fill that void that was supposed to be filled with him with a sexual relationship, which was not the best idea. So God had to show me and basically fill that void with him, which I allowed him to do. And he showed me how precious I am and how wonderful I am to him and how he had a purpose for my life. And using that crutch was not the most beneficial for me. So it was an amazing transformation, and God had to heal a lot of past hurts from just other things in my life. And me being a psychology major, it just showed, God just showed me so much. So you have to get on board with letting God show you how he views you and get on board with that, and just showing you how unique and beautiful and wonderful you are. Not saying if you're having sex you don't see that, so please don't misunderstand me in that. But just getting on board with God and just getting a correct view on sex and different things like that, and that would help you so much. So I do have some verses for that, and that's 1 Corinthians 6:18 and 2 Corinthians 12:9. So you're going to look that up on your own time. And I'm only saying that because I don't want this video to be really long. The third thing that I did was I avoided watching, listening to, and going to places that were going to cause those unwanted feelings. So you should see my movie collection of stuff I listen to. No sexual content or any of that. I don't read things like that. I don't listen to things like that. I don't watch things like that because it just keeps me in the green, away from the red. Anything that goes to the yellow or the red, I just stay out of it. It's just so much safer for me that way. And Proverbs 4:23 is a really good verse for that. And it says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And that is a very great verse, because if you keep dumping that stuff in you, and then I had to realize that too, even looking back at some of the music that I used to listen to, it stirs up affections. And it's like, ooh, yep, can't listen to that because that's making me put my mind in a bad spot. So that's one thing I had to do. The fourth thing is I had to have an action plan. So when those thoughts and feelings would pop up, and they will, I had to have an action plan. And the Bible verse for that is 1 Corinthians 10:13. Again, that was our original verse. There's no temptation that hasn't happened. You have to have an action plan. Proverbs 19:21 says, there are many devices in a man's heart, nevertheless the counsel of the Lord shall stand. And then also in Matthew chapter 4 verses 1 through 11, even Jesus had scripture to fight temptation when it came to him. So we need to have an action plan. Get Bible verses already ready, so then you have that support for when those temptations, those feelings come. Also, again, Reformers Unanimous is really good at having you have memory verses and different things that'll help you through those times of temptation. Also, the fifth thing that I did was I made boundaries for hanging out and talking to guys. For some reason, Proverbs 7 is one of my favorite, not Proverbs, yes, Proverbs 7 is one of my favorite Proverbs because I learned so many different things from that. But in Proverbs 7, if you read that whole thing, it talks about a youth who was at night walking through the streets looking for this lady who was dressed like a prostitute. Didn't say she was, but she was dressed like a prostitute. And pretty much he lost his life because he was being very simple and walking through the streets. Actually, it's verses 6 through 10 because he wasn't being wise and he basically lost his life. I'll let you read that on your own. But basically, at a certain time of night, your judgment and everything goes down. And if I could find some stats on that, I'll put them down below if I find it, because I'm trying to in a hurry post this video. And you'll notice at a certain time of night, when you list certain things, watch certain things, do certain things, or talk to certain people, your discretion goes down. So I have a rule: after 10 o'clock, I do not talk to anyone of the opposite sex if I'm not related to them, or if it's not an emergency and it's a very quick conversation, because I've noticed that certain thoughts or certain things will come out, and I'm like, I just limit that and put those boundaries. I don't go out with the opposite sex either, unless we're in a group setting and we're just so happily out and about. It just cuts down the temptation there. Number 6, have someone you could be accountable to. That really is very helpful. And the verse for that is Proverbs 15:22. Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established. Now, I will say, don't just pick anyone, because that can backfire on you. Really pray about someone that is a good accountability partner. My pastor's wife is one of my accountability partners, and there's other people as well that a very small group that I am accountable to. But as you get stronger in the Lord, you'll have less and less accountability partners, but they're good for when you have feelings or different things pop up, because they will. Even 9 years later, every once in a while, something will pop up and I have to talk to an accountability partner and say, I need someone to pray with me or talk me through this. And it's not often, but it's good to have someone there to help you out. And then number 7, which I don't have a verse for this one, but know your why. Katie Emerson is a YouTuber that I watch, though she has not put out videos lately. I'm going to link her video below. But she says the church has it all wrong when we talk about purity. And I will put in this disclaimer: if your purity was taken from you, meaning you did not willingly consent to give someone your virginity, you are still considered a virgin. Even if you were not a virgin and someone took your body from you without your consent, that is not considering you giving yourself away, just so you know that. But know your why. The church does have it wrong where they make it seem like, and I'm sure it's out of innocence, but they make it seem like if you're not a virgin, then you just blew it and there's nothing you can do, and then people feel like they can just go out, have all the sex because you've blown it anyway. No. You can still be a person that does not have sex. Again, 9-year celibate. And just reclaim your body. There's so much more to life than having sex. And you can decide that's something that you just don't want to do. And I am so much more free and clear. My why for why I stopped having sex is because I got tired of feeling empty. I got tired of feeling used. And I got tired of that void being there. And that's my why. And I don't see a purpose in giving someone my body that is not willing to be my husband. It's like, well, why? Why am I giving this special gift to you if you're not my husband? There's no point. So I have several whys, obviously. But knowing your why, because that why is going to actually help you. So I'm going to link that video below. Please watch it. It is very eye-opening and very wonderful, and I hope this video helped you guys. Leave your comments below. If you need an accountability partner, I would not mind being an accountability partner for you. Also, I'm going to link my social media below. Be sure to click that on, and I will talk to you guys later. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bye, guys.